Welcome to our 5-minute Bible study, The School of Prayer. I want to begin today by reading a couple of verses to you from Psalm 105. Glory in His holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek the Lord rejoice. Look to the Lord and His strength. Seek His face always. The psalmist expressed our desire for prayer in these verses. Prayer is simply looking to the Lord and His strength. It is seeking His face always. And as you are trying and learning how to develop your life of prayer, you're simply learning how to seek God's face always. Now, what we've seen in our first couple of days in this study is that prayer is just simply a relationship with God. He is our Father. He wants to talk to us. And we simply come to Him with the needs of our heart. We looked upon the Lord's Prayer, of course, as the model prayer. Very simple. We come to praise Him, to ask for what we need, that His will be done, that our daily bread be supplied, that He preserve us from trouble, that He keep us from the evil one. I would recommend that you pray the Lord's Prayer at some point every day, just as a model for you in your prayers. But I want to continue today by focusing on the idea that as you begin to learn how to pray more and more effectively, always remember that start with where you are, not where you are not. Or in other words, pray as you can, not as you cannot. Sometimes we feel like when we begin this adventure of prayer, or at least try to develop it in our lives, we have to start as though we're well along the journey. It's sort of like an elementary school child starting to learn math. And instead of the teacher beginning with simple addition and subtraction, they begin with advanced calculus. That just doesn't work. You have to work your way up to calculus. And in prayer, it's the same. Start where you are. So I would encourage you, as you begin this wonderful life of prayer, when you pray, just talk to God about what is on your mind. If something on the job is bothering you, talk to Him about that. If something in the church is concerning you, just talk to Him about that. If you're worried about the weather, talk to Him about that. If you're concerned about a sickness or an illness that you or someone you love has, talk to Him about that. In other words, just come and talk to Him about whatever is on your mind. Your prayer starts with where you are, not where you think you ought to be. Maybe one day down the road, God will get you to more advanced places of prayer. Probably will. Matter of fact, I know He will. But start with where you are. And along that line, I would encourage you to start small. As you start developing this adventure of prayer, you are not, for example, going to start by praying for an entire hour. I know we love the hymn, Sweet Hour of Prayer, Sweet Hour of Prayer. But praying for a solid hour is kind of hard if you've never really prayed much before. That's that advanced calculus I'm talking about. So as you start your prayer life, or to develop your prayer life, start with just a few minutes. Okay? If you could spend 5 minutes a day just talking to God, that would be wonderful. Now, one day you'll get beyond that, but you start where you are. So start small, start simple, just a few minutes a day talking to the Lord. I'd also encourage you to use something to help you in those few minutes of prayer. And the greatest resource I've ever found is the book of the Psalms. There are 150 Psalms in that wonderful book, and they're all prayers. And I start my prayer time every day. I do this every day by reading a Psalm and praying it. And I let it kind of focus me, and I find it usually sort of opens me up to kind of the things I want to talk to God about. So as you start this adventure of prayer, you're going to start simple, maybe just 4 or 5 minutes a day. You're going to start simply by talking to God about whatever's on your heart. Because whatever's on your mind, He wants you to talk with Him about it. Now, as we go along with our adventure, we're going to talk about some other forms of prayer that will come in time. But right now, I just want you to start with that simple approach. Aim for 5 minutes a day. Just be as honest with God as you can. Just talk to Him. And also, as you close your time of prayer, spend a few moments just being quiet and listening. It may be that God impresses something on your mind. It may be that God says something to you in the quiet stillness of your spirit. So those are things I want you to focus on today. You start where you are. Start simple, maybe just 5 minutes a day. Talk to God about whatever's on your mind. And then close your prayer time by just listening. Be quiet and see if He won't impress something on your heart. You try that and see how that works. Now, next time we'll start talking about some of the different forms of prayer you might eventually get to practicing and developing. But for right now, you just start with that simple approach, that 5 minutes a day, okay? You have a great day, and I will look forward to seeing you next time for our School of Prayer.